And welcome back. This is your man Warrior, and this is AaronK. This is going to be another patron roster review, and he's from Escaped Arkham Inmates. So what's happening, everybody? Now, he's doing really well in Fleet, and he's doing pretty good in Arena. He's a very small dolphin and has been playing for a little under 6 months. So he's about 800,000 GP. Just to give a quick kind of looky-loo, you can see he's got some gear 10, some gear 11, but for 6 months, not bad. Most of the crystal spent probably for gear is my guess, and refreshes. Got a lot of characters unlocked at level 1, which is good. He's being hyper focused, not bloating his roster up any, so that is really good. But he really wants to know kind of, what's the best ship meta for Houndstooth? What should he be kind of focused on, for that? And then also Arena, should he kind of switch over to Jedi because his Empire team is not really cutting it, going against all the Bastila leads, even with the Zeta lead and even with Emperor, Thrawn in there and Darth Vader in there, he's still struggling to get into the top 100 every day. So wants to know if he should switch over to Bastila. He's working on them. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go into ships, and we're going to talk about the ships, but just keep in mind the ships also have to have their crew members developed. So there's going to be a heavy focus in both the crew members and the ships. And so let's go ahead, and you're doing well. So I'm going to tell you status quo in ships for now, as far as what you're using to get number 1, because you're getting there every day. In the background, you're going to be working on a whole bunch of stuff. And the first thing that I wanted to kind of tell you that you should be working on is bounty hunters, because bottom line, there's 2 things in the game that totally and completely broke the game: the Falcon and Revan. Falcon, if you have it, you win 100% of the time. If you don't have it, you don't win. So it's a matter of night and day, whether you can compete or not, and whether you can maintain viability. And to get the Millennium Falcon, you have to have the bounty hunters, all 4 of their ships, and then all 4 of them leveled up and geared up. You're going to have to get not only the crew members to gear 11 minimum, but the ships to 7-star level 85, with all the ships' abilities for the most part to level 7 or above. And all the characters with their omegas, basically, for the most part. A Zeta on Bosk, since you're going to have to do the work. Now, keeping that in mind, this is going to be your hyper focus is bounty hunters, while you keep the status quo alive on what ships you're currently running. But these should be the characters that are the ships that you're hyper focused on. And then when the Falcon comes back, you will be able to get the Falcon. Now, you have Han Solo, but you don't have Chewie. So the good thing is, just like I said, you had to go for bounty hunters in ships, you'll go for their crew members, right? Bosk and Boba Fett, IG-88, Cad Bane. These are all guys that have the ships that you need to get Millennium Falcon. Well, these same guys are going to get you Chewie, and you need to get Chewie so that way you can fly the Millennium Falcon. And since ships is super important and you want the end game, this really is the end game. The Houndstooth maxed out and Millennium Falcon maxed out are the only 2 ships in the game you need. Everything else is inconsequential at this point. Sadly, they've broke the game, and that's where we're at. So with that said, you need to work on your bounty hunter squad heavily so you can get them up and running for Chewie the next time he comes around. And you also need to get those ships I just showed for the Falcon, so when the Falcon comes around again, you can get it. Both Chewie unlocks at 5 stars, and you've got to get the Falcon, but you can get the Falcon at 5 stars. And so because of that, even if you get a 5-star Bosk, a 5-star Chewie, and a 5-star Houndstooth, with a 5-star, Millennium Falcon, you will still be hyper competitive in everything. And then the next time it comes around, you'll be able to max it out with that 6th and 7th star. But that would be the most important one of all. In the long run, you're actually probably going to switch from Executrix over to Home 1. And the reason is Home 1 just works better with the Millennium Falcon. Lots of bonus turns, lots of bonus damage, and it's the fastest of all the capital ships in the game. Of course, you're probably going to want to run your Rebels with it. So this is one of the things you asked about. Should I work on my Rebel ships? I don't really want to. And what I find actually kind of funny is you've only been in the game for 6 months, but you were able to catch the game while it was still broken because you were able to get Home 1 to 5 stars. They require 5 5-star or five 4-star ships that are rebels. Specifically, you have to have Home 1, Phantom 2, Ghost, Biggs, is an option. And then you need to have 2 more, and you don't, yet somehow they let you run that event. And I remember that event being broken for a long while and allowing you to go in as long as you had Phantom and Ghost. That's not the case anymore on my Scissorman account. I cannot get my 5th star on Home 1, but because of that, there's a couple rebels you're going to have to develop. Now, Phantom and Ghost, eventually down the road in the long run, you will want to max all the crew members and the ships out. But for now, they're good. What you need to focus on is Cassian and Biston. They're U-Wings. Both Cassian and Biston's U-Wings are phenomenal. Cassian is one of the best rebel ships in the game, and him in reinforcement with your ships in the front, Cassian comes in and allows you to just simply one-shot the opponent's Millennium Falcon, making you hyper competitive for the long run. So you definitely want to go in and work on not only your bounty hunter ships, but you also want to work on your 2 rebel ships that are missing. So if you do that, bounty hunter characters, bounty hunter ships, and then also work on your rebel ships and the rebel crew members, that's a lot of individuals, that's a lot of ships, but that will solidify your, in the next 6 to 8 months, that will solidify you as a #1 contender pretty much indefinitely in this game because, like I said, the Falcons broke stuff. Now let's move over to Arena. So for Arena, I see you're running Emperor Palpatine with Darth Vader, Tarkin, Grand Admiral Thrawn. You've also got TIE Fighter pilot. It's a really great Empire team, and that's a great second team after you move out of Phoenix. But Bastila definitely is a good way to go. So you need to kind of start continuing to passively work on them. Bastila Shan, if you run her as lead, I would actually, since you told me you have 2 Zetas available, I would probably put one on Bastila's lead and one on Yoda's unique, because you have Yoda 5-star gear 10 and his unique is a great Zeta with Bastila Shan, or you could put it on Ezra and give him the extra damage. The issue is you'll always use Yoda, you'll always use Bastila, but you won't always use Ezra. He will fall out of favor for your Jedi team once you end up going to Revan. And so with that said, because you are going to be, wanting to get Revan eventually, he's the other piece. So I talked about how the Falcon broke ships. Well, Revan broke Arena. Basically, if you have Revan, you can be #1, but the mirror matches are horrific, but he is just as broken as the Falcon. He can beat absolutely any team unequivocally, hands down. He smashes them. The team, of course, you want to run with him is going to be Grandmaster Yoda, Bastila, and then you really want General Kenobi and Jolie Bindo. And of course, Jolie Bindo's not there yet for you, and neither is General Kenobi. Now, if your guild is getting General Kenobi, then great. If you're at this point in your development at 6 months and you do not have a guild that is getting you General Kenobi at a minimum, then I would bail on the team. I'm sorry, but I would bail on them and I would go over to a team doing General Kenobi. Now, if they are doing General Kenobi, then you should have him soon enough, but he's really a staple in this. And then, of course, Revan would be a staple in this. And so what you need to do to get Revan is obviously to focus on Old Republic. Now, traditionally, if you follow my 5-pillar system, before Revan comes CLS, and with CLS comes a lot of having to work on, old Ben and Luke and Leia and all of that. I would, if it was me in your shoes, because of where you're at and where you're at with Arena and stuff, I would actually hyper focus on your Old Republic. Now, of course, with this means Jolie and Bastila, your first 2, because those 2 are going to be necessary not only for the Arena team you use, but necessary to get Revan. Now, the other 3 is going to be T3, Zalbar, and Mission. And T3, Zalbar, and Mission are definitely very farmable. They just take a long while. Specifically, Zalbar takes forever in the ship's node at 20 a node. It just takes forever. T3 will be a little faster, and Mission is 16 energy, so she's a little bit faster than Zalbar, but not really, not much. So because of that, you want to start working on them immediately. You probably won't be ready in time for Revan when he comes back around, but you can always shoot for that. He just came out a few weeks back. So now going forward, it should be about 3 months, 2.5, 3 months before we see him again. And if you hyper focus on just these characters, you should be able to get them up in time. Now, I've given you a ton. I've given you 5 Old Republic characters to work on, and I've given you a bunch of bounty hunters to work on, as well as the ships for those bounty hunters. So a lot of bounty hunters and a lot of Old Republic, and that is a lot to chew at one time. But if you focus on the bounty hunters and the Old Republic at the same time and just really work on these characters, you're going to find success in both of those. Once you have the Falcon and Revan, you'll find yourself very, 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 very easily competing in the top 100 on both, and you should be able to climb right on up into the top 10 pretty easily with either one of those. Now, everyone has it, so don't be worried when you get dropped back 30 to 70 points, because that's just the way of the world. So Aaron, you're doing really well. Again, shout out again to Escaped Arkham Inmates. You're still getting #1 in Fleet, so that's phenomenal. Your arena team was a great transition from Phoenix, but at this point, yes, I would definitely start considering moving to Jedi. And if you're going to go ahead and move to Jedi, you should probably start focusing on the Revan prerequisites. For ships, since you're doing well, keep using this team, but start passively working on those bounty hunter ships, both the ships and the crew members, so you can be prepared for both the Chewie event and Falcon event. And remember, those are great events because you can unlock all of it at 5 stars, and that's usable at 5 stars. So it would be a really great hyper focus. If anyone has any ideas for AaronK that I didn't say after looking at the roster, please leave them in the comments down below, and keep your gaming on. Warrior out.